Hello everyone, Roxbox90 here, back with another top 10 EDH Commander card countdown. So today we're going to go through the top 10 Shadows over Innistrad cards. I understand the video is a little bit delayed. The set's been out for a while, but we had some time to actually play with the cards and put together my thoughts. I'm also going to try to make the list a little bit shorter in terms of timing wise, since most of you know what the cards do. In terms of criteria, same ones apply as always. For Commander sets, we want to make sure to go through and hit off criteria. You have multiplayer only. This is not for dual commander or any other format. Should the cards go from ones that are a little more specific or not as good to ones that are more good and more broadly usable. Starting off with the honorable mentions, Traverse the Ulven Wall. This is Eldamri's call if, and that's if you have Delirium. Otherwise, it's really bad. And because of that requirement, really hard requirement, I don't love it. Descend upon the Sinful, solid white Wrath. It does exile all creatures though, and leaving you without much of a board state. Much better in a constructed control deck than in most commander decks. Angel Deliverance. This card is good, expensive, difficult to pull off, but if there's anywhere it can make this work, it'd be commander. Burn from Within. I really like this card a lot. I like its scalability. Most importantly, I like that it can kill both the Kamigawa and the Theros gods. This is huge in a format where those, especially as commanders, are very, very difficult to handle. But as a widely used commander card, it's probably not going to be there. It's not as good. There's a lot of cards I'm just going to throw up on a screen. 1, 2, 3. Garreach Bandit and Rattle Chains are both very good, but they're both tribal focused. Sage of the Ancient Lore, Eerie Interlude, Triskaidekaphobia, etc., etc. These are cards that are all decent commander cards, but very narrow in use. Very specific decks want to use them, and that's why they're not on the list. Number 10, we have Arlinn Kord, and I'm going to make 10 and 9 the same, because number 9 is Sorin, and number 10 is Arlinn Kord, with Jason Nahiri taking backseat, because of the four, the ones I think are most readily playable and most relevant in Commander are Sorin and Arlinn Kord. Sorin is better, I think, because of it hits multiple opponents. Its effects are all very, very specifically relatable to Commander and multiplayer Commander specifically, while Arlinn Kord is very solid in the style decks, the aggressive decks, especially ones that focus on big beater creatures and Voltron damage. But I think Sorin takes the cake a little bit. It's a little unfair because it's a 6-mana Planeswalker versus a 4-1, but that's the order I'd have. Jace and Nahiri definitely are lesser commander cards, a little bit more constructed in viability. Number 8, we have Altered Ego, an uncounterable clone that is stronger than not, is really good. Now, of course, it's green-blue, so it's not as splashable or as flexible as others. It also doesn't do, like Clever Impersonator, doesn't do other kinds of permanents. It's really just for creatures. However, not a card you usually see, and having the uncounterability, sure shoo-in for those kind of decks. Number 7, Gitrog Monster. Also, really cool commander card. Lets you have a lot of shenanigans, making a major card draw engine for green-black, which they don't always have access to. It also works really well with graveyard/land related decks like Titania. This card has a lot of flexibility. I'm sure we'll see a lot of Commander play in the years to come. Number 6, Archangel Avacyn is a huge bomb splash card. The fact that it protects against, it makes your creatures indestructible, makes it very powerful for creature decks. I also love that it can sweep the field from more aggressive decks if you're using it in a more control style build. It's interesting, it's a Boros card, but as constructed, it's probably much better, hence the reason it's lower on the list, but in Commander, I can still see it making a big splash. The Seasons Pass. This card, Time in the Sun in Standard, but the thing is, in Commander, this is really good, even if you only have 3 or 4 cards. 6 mana to put 3 or 4 cards into your hand. Likely you'll get 6 to 10 cards, depending on how far along the game is. Scalable card like this that also puts itself back in your deck, really good. Number 4, Anguished Unmaking, straight up insane removal spell. 3 life loss doesn't really matter at all. It's nothing to be discussed the way it was for a more standardized discussion. In Commander, this card is a beast. 3, Open the Armory. This card fills a gap that White has. White has lots of tutors, especially ones that tutor for enchantments and tutor for equipments. Steel Shaper's Gifts and Idyllic Tutor are top of mind. Having them both on a card, that's really a necessary one, and I think it's great that it's 1 in a white, which gives you flexibility for where to play it. Number 2, Westvale Abbey. Having a land card like this fits into many, many decks. I think it's very doable, and it has the kind of big splash commander that, even more than in standard environments, what you're searching for. And number 1, Thing in the Ice. I said this card for my regular standard list. I think while I was a little disappointed in terms of how it did in the more other constructed competitive formats, in Commander, this card I think is still that good. Having a card that sits in play and can be triggered at instant speed very easily, or not instant speed, to be a Wrath effect like Cataract Leviathan, makes it a strong card that can see play way across the board. It works well. Also, if you really want to go the flavor route, it can fit in by letting you keep some of your creatures alive. But even if you just go with a Wrath effect for a big creature, super solid. Really a big fan of this card. So that's my top 10 Shadows of Innistrad Commander list. I know it's a little bit late, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts as well. How have you seen these cards playing, or do you have any others that I may have missed that you think are worth mentioning? Put it down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, tap the like button. If you're new to the channel, check in and subscribe. As always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.